Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're continuing our college football bowl predictions today, and our next 4 games kick off the higher level bowl games, including ranked versus ranked matchups, so you're not going to want to miss any of these games or the ones to follow. And our next 4 bowl games for December 28th are the Military Bowl between Virginia and Navy, Camping World Bowl between number 22 Virginia Tech and number 19 Oklahoma State, the Alamo Bowl between number 13 Stanford and number 15 TCU, and the Holiday Bowl between number 18 Washington State and number 16 Michigan State. So these are where the bowl games start to get really good, and you are not going to want to miss any of these pretty much all the way up till January 1st when we have the playoff matchups, and of course January 8th for the national championship game. So we'll start off here with the Military Bowl between Virginia and Navy. This is a very intriguing matchup, and you've got to give a lot of credit first off to Virginia and Bronco Mendenhall, getting them back to the postseason for the first time since 2011. Last year they were 2-10. Things weren't looking good, but he had a solid quarterback in Kurt Benkert, and they got him there for a 6-6 record. Started the season off 5-1, probably could have done a little bit better, but 6-6, I know I'd be happy if I were a Cavalier fan. So things are looking very good for them. And the key will be, can Kurt Benkert throw over this Navy defense? How solid will the Navy pass defense be against Kurt Benkert and their dynamic offense? You know, he had a great game against what was supposed to be a very solid Miami defense. Of course, they ended up losing that game, but he played extremely well. But on the other side, you have Navy, who runs a very dangerous triple option. Virginia faced Georgia Tech this season and beat them. Georgia Tech, of course, runs a similar offense to Navy, but in my opinion, Navy runs it a little bit better. So will Virginia be able to stop Navy's triple option? That's going to be the key here. The Military Bowl will be played at Navy. That just so happened to work out. So Navy will have home field advantage. I don't think Virginia is going to be able to stop the Navy's triple option. It's going to be a fun game to watch. It's really going to come down to defense in this one. But I like Navy to get the win and finish with a 7-6 record. And then we've got the Camping World Bowl between number 22 Virginia Tech and number 19 Oklahoma State, our first ranked versus ranked matchup. And this is going to be really, in my opinion, a really fun game. We'll start over here. Virginia Tech, led by one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time, and Bud Foster. He's been there forever. I think it's been 30 years now. He's been doing a great job with the Hokies since he's gotten there. And nothing's really changed for them. Justin Fuente came in and really changed up the offense, but the defense has stayed the same, and it's been very dominant. Well, Oklahoma State's dynamic offense, led by Mason Rudolph and James Washington, the quarterback and wide receiver duo there, will they be able to create some offense on Bud Foster's defense? That's going to be the key here. If they can, I think they get the win. If they can't, you know, Virginia Tech has a very solid chance here. Now, one thing we have to remember is Virginia Tech will be without their best wide receiver, Cam Phillips. He's having surgery on a sports hernia right now, and so he will be out of this game, which really hurts them. They've got the true freshman and Josh Jackson, a very solid quarterback for the Hokies. He kind of surprised me. The redshirt freshman coming in, wasn't really sure how he's going to be, but he's dynamic, he's a dual threat, and really had a very solid season for his first year as starter. So the key is going to be, can Oklahoma State shut him down? I like Oklahoma State in this one. I feel their offense is going to be too much. If they take away the passing game, they've still got a solid running back in Justice Hill, who's rushed for over 1,300 yards this season. We know Virginia Tech has a very solid defense, but will their offense be able to put up some points on Oklahoma State? I think Oklahoma State's going to be able to score too much on them. They're going to want to send out those seniors, Mason Rudolph and James Washington and those guys. They're going to want to send them out on top and get that 10-win mark. It's going to be a fun one to watch, but I like Oklahoma State in this one. And the Alamo Bowl between Stanford and TCU. If you remember, just 2 years ago, TCU was in the Alamo Bowl. And if you remember that game, they were facing Oregon and found themselves down 31-0 and came back, won that game 47-41 in triple overtime. Probably one of the best bowl games, in my opinion, of all time. The fact they were able to battle all the way back. So you never want to doubt and count out a Gary Patterson team, but you also never want to count out a David Shaw-led team at Stanford. We all know Stanford's big-name playmaker is Bryce Love, Heisman finalist, one of the best running backs in the entire nation. So TCU's defense is going to have a tough time shutting him down. It's going to be a fun quarterback battle, though. You got Kenny Hill, who is finally graduating. Feels like he's been playing college ball forever after backing up Johnny Manziel there at Texas A&M and taking over the starting job for a little while. And then you've got Stanford's KJ Costello taking over for Keller Chris. So it's going to be a fun quarterback matchup. Both of these quarterbacks have kind of been inconsistent. But it'll be really fun to watch. In my opinion, this game is going to come down to defense. Can TCU shut down Bryce Love and shut down the Stanford offense? And the same thing goes for Stanford versus TCU. Kenny Hill, a very good dual-threat quarterback. We've seen what TCU is capable of, but they have slipped up a few times this season. That's kept them out of the college football playoff race. Both these guys lost their conference championship games, so a lot of factors at play here. Both teams are wanting to get to that 10-win mark to close out the season. I like TCU in this one. It's playing in Texas. Not that it's going to really hurt Stanford that much. They're used to this kind of environment, but I like TCU's defense to be able to go down, take away the Bryce Love factor, and get the win. Gary Patterson knows how to get his teams hyped for these games, and I like the Horned Frogs to get a 10-win this season and win the Alamo Bowl. And then the Holiday Bowl between Washington State and Michigan State. In my opinion, you couldn't have picked a better matchup for the Holiday Bowl. Both these teams, in my eyes, completely different teams in the style of play, but very even in my eyes. I believe the spread right now is only Michigan State by 1.5. So this is going to be a very, very close game. We'll start with Washington State, who has one of the best passers in the Pac-12, and in my opinion, one of the best in the nation. And Luke Falk, he kind of gets overshadowed in his conference by Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen. But he's a senior. He's done great things for this program, mostly thanks to Mike Leach running that air raid offense, no huddle offense. And then they're going up against Mark D'Antonio's Michigan State team, who runs more of a tempo offense and likes to run it on the ground. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the contrast of style of play works in this one. If you remember, Washington State went last year and lost to Minnesota in the Holiday Bowl, so they're going to the same venue. They want to send out these seniors on top. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind, Washington State lost their top 2 wide receivers, and Tavares Martin Jr. and Isaiah Johnson-Mack. They both quit the team at the end of the season, and so they will not be here for this game. That takes away some factors for Luke Falk, of course. He's going to have some trouble finding some wide receivers open and getting them to. And Michigan State, of course, prides themselves on defense. Not saying their offense is bad. They've been very good enough to put up some points. I was very surprised by the way they played this season. I did not expect them to have the season they did. You never want to count out Mark D'Antonio. Like Gary Patterson, he always gets the best out of his team. However, I like Washington State in this game. I really could see it going either way. It might come down to whoever has the ball first or ball last, or whoever can create the most crucial turnover. I like Washington State to get the win, redeeming themselves from their Holiday Bowl loss from last year. I'd like to see Luke Falk go out on top in his senior year. He's done so much for this program, really hasn't reaped the rewards from it, haven't really been able to take advantage of his skill. Mike Leach, I think, is not going to let his team fail again in the Holiday Bowl. Like I said, I feel like this game could go either way. It's going to be very close, a super fun one to watch, especially with the contrast of style. I like the Cougars in this one to go in there and get the win. So it's going to be very exciting. These are just the start of some of the best bowl games to come. This is on December 28th. We've got great games on the 29th and 30th, taking New Year's Eve off, of course, and then January 1st we got the playoff games. So we're running out of bowl games. We're getting the near the season, but the best is yet to come. So make sure you keep your eye out for all these 4 games. Make sure you continue to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on The Gridiron Expert.